Greetings, my name is Ankit and my project partner is Aman. Today we are going to discuss four research papers that are closely related to practical deep learning system performance. The title of first research paper is Impact of Training Set Batch Size on the Performance of Convolutional Neural Network for Diverse Dataset. The aim of this research paper is to figure out the best batch size for the training speed and recognition accuracy of CNN. Problem motivation. The cost of error can be huge, but optimizing model accuracy mitigates that cost. The benefit of improving model accuracy help avoid considerable time, money, and undue stress. For example, in case of a false positive cancer diagnostic can cost both the hospital and the person. It can also cost the life of the person. The problem of improving the performance of convolutional neural network is considered in this research paper, and we are going to discuss it in this research paper. The best size of the training set is investigated in this research paper, and we are going to discuss that also. While building a successfully convoluted neural network, there are a lot of parameters we need to take care of, and best size is one of the parameter that is one of the most important parameter among all. So we are going to discuss that in this research paper. Background work. There are recent research in optimization method for machine learning, both batch and stochastic paradigm. Research showed the advantage of online training to batch training. Different research paper consider different optimal value of batch size. For example, in some research paper, they use only 64 up to 64 batch size, and in some research paper they take they take batch sizes as the power of 2n, like 16, 32, 64, and so on. In some research paper, they take batch size as multiple of 10, 250, 300, 350, and so on. Therefore, the question of choosing the optimal batch size weight for diverse data sets remain open and requires further research. The benchmark classification problem is conducted on MNIST and CIFAR-10 dataset. 12 batch size were selected on two criteria: power of 2, that is 16, 32, 64, and so on, and multiple of 10, that is 50, 100, 150, and so on. LeanNet architecture was used for MNIST dataset, where it used two convoluted, two ReLU, and two max pooling, and two fully connected layers. It also used SML. Different architecture was used for CIFAR 10 dataset. 5 convoluted layer were used in this architecture, and normalizing layer were also used. The work of normalizing layers was to normalizing the activation function from the previous layer. Machine learning framework TensorFlow V 1.3.0 is used. The model are trained using SGD with learning rate of 0.001 for MNIST dataset and 0.0001 for CIFAR 10 datasets. Now we are going to discuss the testing accuracy of the trained CNN with different batch sizes value on MNIST dataset. Here you can see the graph where the smoothest curve correspond to the example that is having a batch size of 1024, and the curve with the most noise, that this orange correspond to the example that is having a batch size of 16. So as we are increasing the batch sizes, the smoothness of the curve is also increasing, and it is achieving a better testing accuracy. Now we are going to discuss the testing accuracy of the trained CNN with different batches size value on CIFAR 10 dataset. Here we can see that the different curves are almost the same, and there is not that much difference as we seen in the MNIST dataset. The lowest most curve correspond to the example which is having a 16 batch size, and the topmost curve correspond to an example that is having 1024 batch size. Now we are going to discuss the testing accuracy results. As you can see, as in this table, that as we are increasing the batch sizes, the accuracy is also increasing. We are getting the best result from the example that are having 512, 1024 batch sizes, and we are getting the worst testing accuracy from the example that are having batch sizes of 16, 32, 50, and 64. Now we will be discussing training time efficiency. As we can see from the table, that as the batch size is increasing, the training time is also increasing. Future research, the paper does show the impact of the batch size on the performance of CNN, and further research is required to know it in a better way and in more depth. The greater the conclusion, the greater the parameter value, the higher the image recognition accuracy. The larger batch size values leads to huge computational cost, as we have discussed that in this table, that as the batch size is increasing, the time efficiency is also increasing, hence the computational cost is also increasing. We need to do more research for sure the relationship between performance of CNN and batch size, as we have earlier discussed that this paper does show the impact of batch sizes on the performance of CNN. The title of my second research paper is Scaling HDD batch size to 32K for ImageNet training. The most natural way to speed up the training of large network is use data parallelism on the multiple GPU. For this, we need to increase the batch size that can compromise the accuracy. So we are going to address some useful tools to resolve this problem. Problem motivation. Deep neural networks perform slightly better than the traditional machine learning method for the complicated application like computer vision and natural language processing. The time-consuming DNN training process greatly limits the efficiency of DNN research and development. For example, using an 8-core CPU to train CIFAR-10 datasets needs 8.2 hours to achieve 0.8 accuracy. So this paper focuses on data parallelism, mini-batch stochastic gradient descent training. To scale the data parallelism stochastic gradient descent method to more processors, we need to increase the batch size, and we know increasing the batch size will lead to compromise in test accuracy. As existing methods do not work when we increase the batch size beyond 1024 for using ImageNet dataset to train AlexNet. In this research paper, they used tuning hyperparameters such like momentum, weight decay, minimum learning rate, and polypower, but it didn't work for them. After this, they also tried with batch normalization to AlexNet and get AlexNet BN model. And AlexNet BN improves batch size from 4096 accuracy to 53.1% to 58.9%. Layer-wise adaptive rate scaling to further improve large batch AlexNet test accuracy. They propose layer-wise adaptive rate scaling. It uses different learning rate for different layers based on the norm of the weight and gradient. Background. Large batch training difficulty. In order to improve the efficiency of data parallelism, we need to increase the batch size. However, when we increase the batch size after a certain point, for example, 1024, the algorithm convergence accuracy became slightly lower than the baseline. Learning rate. When we increase the batch size, we need to increase the base learning rate at the same time to prevent losing accuracy. There are two rules for increasing the learning rate: square root scaling rule, linear scaling rule. State of the art batch training. You can see in the graph the baseline batch size is 256 and the orange curve correspond to the batch size of 8000. Exam. The top one accuracy is same for both the curves. Reproduce an extended Facebook result. Facebook use multi-step learning rate, warm-up strategy, and linear scaling rate. During the first 5 epochs, they gradually increase the learning rate from 0.1 to 0.32, which is called as the warm-up range. At 30th and so on epoch, they updated eta equal to 0.1 multiplied by eta. In this research paper, they use higher learning rate as compared to Facebook research paper. The base learning rate for the batch of 256 is 0.2, and the base learning rate for a batch of 8000 is 6.4. They also use the poly rule rather than multi-step rule to update the learning rate. Training ImageNet by AlexNet, linear scaling and warm-up scheme for learning rate, batch normalization for large batch training, layer-wise adaptive rate scaling for large batch training. We are going to learn about this in the upcoming slides. Linear scaling warm-up scheme for LR. Initially, they used linear scaling for batch 4096 AlexNet and set the base learning rate at as 0.8. However, it does not converge even at the learning rate of 0.01. After that, they use both linear scaling and warm-up scheme. After a series of hyperparameter tuning, we can see in the table that after they set the warm-up learning rate as 0.001, and the highest accuracy is corresponding to learning rate of 0.05, as we can see from the table. Batch normalization for large batch training, although they have achieved a higher accuracy by adding batch normalization, there is still 1% accuracy gap between 512 and 4096. For batch of 8000, the gap is even larger, which is 2%. So they tuned hyperparameter again, like momentum, weight, decay, but it didn't work for them. From the figure, we clearly observe the generalization situation became better after we add batch normalization. Layer-wise adaptive learning rate for large batch training by using LARS. We can scale the batch size up to 32K for ImageNet 1K training by a ResNet 50 model. After using LARS, we clearly observe the large batch can achieve the same accuracy with the baseline, as we can observe from the given graph. Benefits of using large batch size, we observe that batch 512 in the first graph and the batch 4096 roughly have the same speed on 4 GPU. However, when we move the code to 8 GPU, we observe that the batch 4096 achieved 3 times speed up over batch 512. In fact, batch 512 on 8 GPU is even slower than the batch on 4 GPU. Wonder why? The reason is that the batch 512 cannot make use of all computational resource of 4 GPUs. Conclusion: only using existing methods such as linear scaling, warm-up scheme are not enough to complicated application like using LXNet to train ImageNet. LARS is shown high efficiency in their experiments. Thank you and have a nice day.
Hi, my name is Aman, and the first paper which I will be discussing is called Don't Decay the Learning Rate, Increase the Batch Size. And this paper was presented by Google in 2018. And the authors in this paper have shown that decaying the learning rate is same as increasing the batch size, along with some added advantages. So the first question that we will answer from this paper is, why should we increase the batch size if it has a similar performance to decaying the learning rate? And the reason for this is that with a large batch size, we have a couple of advantages. With a large batch size, the number of parameters updates required to train the model comes down. And as a result, the training time also comes down. So to get an intuition of why that is the case, we will look at this equation. And what this equation is demonstrating is that when using SGD, the noise that is associated with SGD, which is G, is dependent upon E, which is the learning rate, N, which is the size of the training set, and B, which is the batch size. And N will always be a constant, B is held to be a constant. So the only variable on which the noise is dependent upon is the learning rate E. So as we reduce the learning rate, the noise also comes down and the loss function converges. And what the authors in this paper are proposing is that instead of reducing the learning rate, we keep the learning rate to be a constant and we increase B, which is the batch size. So as B goes up, G comes down, and we should get a similar performance. So one of the advantages of this approach that I mentioned was that a large batch size will have less number of parameter updates. So to get an intuition of why that happens, we again look at the same equation, but this time with momentum. So in this case, M is the momentum coefficient. And what happens in this case is, as we increase the learning rate and as we increase the momentum coefficient, the number of parameter update comes down. So we increase the learning rate, we increase the momentum coefficient. To make this ratio constant, we also have a large batch size and the overall parameter update comes down. So these two equations form the baseline on which experiments have been conducted for this paper. And we will look at some of the experimental results. So these two plots show the different learning strategies that we have. If you look on the plot on the left-hand side, the blue curve that we have is the traditional learning rate decay, which means after every epoch, we decay the learning rate by a certain factor after every set of epochs. The red curve is what the authors are proposing, which is we keep the learning rate to be a constant for all the epochs, but we instead increase the batch size, which we can see on the curve on the right-hand side. And then we have a hybrid approach in which we keep on increasing the batch size and we keep the learning rate constant till we hit a batch size of a certain value, after which we keep on reducing the learning rate. So the plot on the bottom part of the slide show the performance of these three learning strategies when using ResNet 50 on CFR 10 dataset. So this curve essentially shows that regardless of which strategy we use, whether we decay the learning rate or whether we increase the batch size or whether we use a hybrid approach, the loss always converges to the same value. And this curve validates the first point of the paper, which is increasing the batch size has the same effect as decaying the learning rate because the curves are exactly same. The second curve demonstrates the advantage of using a large batch size. So in this curve, you can see that when we decay the learning rate, we have something around 80,000 parameter updates. But when we increase the batch size, we have only 25,000 parameter updates for the same convergence. So this plot is saying that decaying the learning rate is same as increasing the batch size. And this plot is saying that increasing the batch size has an advantage of using less number of parameter updates. And again, this plot shows number of epochs versus the validation accuracy. And regardless of whichever learning strategy we use, we hit the same accuracy. Again, demonstrating that increasing batch size is same as decaying the learning rate. And this is training ResNet 50 on ImageNet using momentum. So as we increase the value of momentum, the validation accuracy remains the same, but the number of parameter updates come down. So when we use momentum with 0.975, we have around 2000 parameter updates. And when we use momentum with 0.9, we have close to 6000 parameter updates, both with the same accuracy. So overall, this paper demonstrated that we should use a large batch size instead of learning rate decay, because a large batch size has got certain advantages associated with it in terms of parameter updates. And they were able to train ResNet 50 in just 25-minute parameter updates on ImageNet in under 30 minutes. So this is the first paper.
My second paper is image classification at supercomputer scale. And in this paper, the authors have proposed certain optimizations that can be made to scale up the training for image classification using neural networks. So for the technical details, the authors make use of TPUs, where each TPU has 4 chips and each chip has 2 cores. And they also make use of something known as TPU pod, which is essentially a collection of chips. So TPU V2 has 256 chips and TPU V3 pod has 1024 chips. The authors also make use of mixed precision, where they use bfloat16, which is a 16-bit floating decimal precision. And the reason they use bfloat16 is that it has a higher throughput as compared to 32-bit floating precision. And to benchmark their model with other models that use 32-bit precision, all the non-convolution operations in the CNN has been performed using standard 32-bit decimal precision. They also employ a learning rate schedule where they increase the learning rate every time they increase the batch size or vice versa. And they also use an optimizer called layer-wise adaptive rate scaling, which enables them to use batch size of 32,678, which is a pretty large batch size. And the authors propose an optimization for batch normalization, which is distributed batch normalization, which is we perform batch normalization and distribute the data set across all the learners in data parallelism. This paper essentially makes use of data parallelism. So distributed batch normalization is related to validation accuracy. And there is an interesting observation to be made over here, which is when the batch size falls below a certain threshold, there is a significant drop in the validation accuracy. So this plot essentially shows that when the batch size falls below 32, there is a significant decrease in the validation accuracy. But after 32, the validation accuracy essentially remains the same, and they get the maximum validation accuracy with a batch size of 64. So this was done using ResNet 50 on the ImageNet dataset. The third optimization that the authors propose is input pipeline optimization. So input pipeline is concerned with storing the data, passing the data, shuffling the data, and pre-processing the data. So everything that happens before the model actually starts training. The reason we should optimize the input pipeline is if the input pipeline is slow, it will act as a bottleneck for the entire model. So input pipeline and the model pipeline determine the entire throughput of the model. So the authors have proposed 4 ways of optimizing the input pipeline. The first way is data set sharding, in which case we shard or distribute the data set across all the learners. The second approach is pre-fetch, in which case we ensure that there is no time lag between input pipeline and the model pipeline. So when particular set of data is being trained on the model pipeline, the next set of data should be immediately available on the input pipeline so that there is no time lag. They also use fused JPEG decode, which is an efficient way of augmenting the data set to train the model. And they also have parallel data passing. So these plot essentially show the effect of each of these 4 optimizations on the throughput. And the main thing to observe here is that in case of controlled addition, when we add the parallel data passing optimizer, the throughput goes from 4,000 to 8,000, indicating that this optimizer is the most relevant one. And this is controlled ablation, where we remove these optimizers one by one. So again, when we remove the parallel data passing optimizer, the throughput falls from 8,000 to 4,000, again indicating that this is the most relevant optimizer. And they achieve maximum throughput when they use 8 threads to train the model. So this is the result of all the optimizers put together. They trained ResNet 50 on ImageNet using V3 pods, and they had the LARS optimizer that enabled them to use a batch of 32,768. They had distributed batch normalization, and they were able to train it in just 2.2 minutes with a comparable accuracy of 76.3%. So this paper essentially demonstrates that we can scale up the training by using distributed batch normalization. If we see in the previous slide, none of the papers had used distributed batch normalization. Just this paper has used distributed batch normalization. They also demonstrated the significance of input pipeline and why we should optimize the input pipeline and not only the model pipeline. And they were able to train ResNet 50 in 2.2 minutes with a throughput of close to 1 million images per second, a very large batch size with no accuracy drop compared to the previous approaches of training ResNet 50 on ImageNet. Now I will discuss the observations and insights from the 2 papers which I presented. So from the first paper, one of the insight is that as we increase the batch size, it has a similar effect as decaying the learning rate. And this is applicable across a range of optimizers. So whether we use SGD, Adam, Nestrov, this observation holds true. And one future course of work for this paper would be to further explore till what extent can we increase the batch size. So we discussed in case of hybrid methodology, we keep on increasing the batch size till a particular threshold, and then we switch to learning rate decay. And that threshold is 1/10 of the training size. And a future course of action would be to see if we can further scale up the batch size without it being a bottleneck to the training time. One of the insights from the second paper is that the authors demonstrated how data parallelism can very efficiently scale up the training process for image classification by using distributed batch normalization. And a future course of action for this field of work will be to determine if hybrid parallelism can do any better, or if it would be a bottleneck and bring down the training time. So these are the insights and observations from the 2 papers which I read. Thank you.